Hello, I'm Jamir and you're watching Hornbill TV. In today's Hornbill TV special, we'll be joined by the lead vocalist of a very renowned band from Nagaland, a band that is back with a bang with their new album after almost 3 years. Now first, let's have a look at their music video.
I'm running away from the warmth of a mother. Say my goodbyes, I'll miss the breeze and the kiss of a lover. I'll leave a note, apologies to my older two brothers. You'll have the world down at your feet, oh. You'll have the world down at your feet, oh. I'm running away from the sickness that gives me up at night. I tried to reason with the voices, am I losing my mind? And I can't believe I found a girl in my dreams. I can't believe I found a girl in my dreams. I can't believe, oh. So tell my precious that I miss her. Don't judge me for the sins that I left resting on your shoulders. There's more to life than just the flashes and your camera pictures. But I hope you find the time to look beyond the mirrors when your world comes crashing. I hope you find someone to keep that heartbeat racing in sickness and in health. I hope you find your true religion, your sun and stormy weathers. Cause half of all these books just preach about his faith runs deeper. I'm running away from everything that I know, and all of the lights don't mend the cracks in my bones. I'm running away from everything that I know. You build us a castle but it don't feel like a home. So to my father, yeah, I'm sorry that I dropped out of college. I couldn't give into the rituals and pretend to be honest. I know you hate the fact that I chose to leave that world behind. Your name around my neck was like watching the world with blurry eyes. And I don't mean the phrase with disrespect, cause I owe this life to you. So I'll take off the rope around my neck and leap right off the roof. Oh, I don't wanna go to sleep afraid of my pillow. I don't wanna go to sleep at all. I'm running away from the warmth of a mother. Say my goodbyes, I'll miss the breeze and the kiss of a lover. I'll leave a note, apologies to my older two brothers. You'll have the world down at your feet, oh. You'll have the world down at your feet, oh. I'm running away from the sickness that gives me up at night. I tried to reason with the voices, am I losing my mind? I hope you know I wear my heart on my sleeve, though. Shed me a tear when I forget how to breathe, oh.
So as I've mentioned, guys, I'm here today. I'm joined by Jamir, who is the lead vocalist of the popular band Polar Lights. So thank you so much, Mar, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And it's so nice to see you after so long. So Mar, how have you been all these years? You have been out of the picture for quite some time. I think after the pandemic, I mean, for 2-3 years. So
I've been doing well. I've been working on the album, as you know. So, and I've been doing other. I've been getting myself involved in other things as well. So yeah, I've been occupied.
Since we also want to mention that we wanted to get all the band members here together, but since they all leave, I mean, they are scattered everywhere, we couldn't get all of them. So Mar is here to represent all of them. So Mar, let me get to know more about you first. May I know, how did your musical journey first start?
My musical journey started, I think, so I studied in Shillong. So I think it was there that I developed my interest for music. And I think I probably started writing songs when I was about 11 years. So I think I wrote my first song when I was 11. And yeah, that's basically how I started writing songs. And
what about performing?
Performing, I think I think I started performing in churches first, like during youth, what do you call those, youth services. And that I think I started performing there. So I was probably around 17 years, I think.
So at that time when you were, I think when you were younger, what kind of things inspired your lyrics? I mean, what was the lyrics based on most of the time?
Lyrics, I think growing up, I listened to a lot of Chuck Berry and Foo Fighters and all of that, all those type of bands. So I've been inspired by, my songwriting idol is definitely Chuck Berry. So I think those guys are my inspirations, with especially with my songwriting and all of that. No.
And now coming back to the band, since everybody is not here, could you tell us more about when and how Polar Lights was formed?
So Polar Lights started in 2013. So it was me, Vitz, who's a producer now. He's from, I think he's in Delhi presently. So me, Vitz, Saru, and Sinap. So we've gone through a lot of lineup changes. In fact, I'm the only surviving member now when Polar Lights started out. And we started back in 2013, and I think that's about it, yeah, 2013. So it was me, Vitz, Sinap, and Saru.
And tell us more about why Polar Lights, what's with the name?
I get this question a lot, and a lot of people have been asking me why we decided to call the name Polar. I think it just sounded appealing to us at that time. So no story behind why we decided to call our band Polar Lights.
So it was not like you had options and you chose, but it's
I
just
mean we had options. I think we had Polar Lights, and I think Harbor Lights was the other name. I think this will be the first time that people actually get to know this story. But yeah, Harbor Lights and Polar Lights. So we decided to go with Polar Lights.
So this formation of the band, did it happen when you were, there in Bangalore? Or
I was in Bangalore, yes. So I met Vitz in Bangalore. So he knew that I was writing songs and all of that. So once I came back to Dimapur, so this was 2013. So I was home for a couple of months just for my holidays. And so even Vitz was in Vitz was in Dimapur at that time. So he came up to me and he was like, he wanted to start a band. And I asked him what type of songs that we're going to be playing, and he said, "Oh, we'll play your songs," because he knew that I was writing songs and all that. So that's how Polar Lights, came to be.
And I think we have moved far in this conversation, but I'd also want you to tell our viewers about how do you define your music, or what genre do you think, would you say the music is for the viewers who are not aware of the band?
I think everyone will have their own definition of what Polar Lights is, in a way, as in sonically. And people termed us as, people define our music as sort of this alternative rock, indie alternative rock, or something along those lines. But I think the best way to describe our music, at least for me, is I write songs not, I don't have this intention of writing a rock song or writing a pop song, or just no particular genre. I just write songs that I feel are honest, transparent, and just, in a way, Polar Lights. So I think the best way to describe Polar Lights genre would be, I don't really have an answer for that, but I think I just want our music to be honest. So that's
what matters. And since I've mentioned earlier that your band members are not here, we'd also want to know more about them through you. So tell us more about them as well.
So we're a 5-piece band now. We started out with 4 of us, but right now we're 5. So on guitars, we have my elder brother, Timjin, who actually produces Polar Lights music. And he's been producing our music since Murder Machine. So he was actually very involved in he was very involved in making just the sound that we have right now. So we have Timjin on guitars, Benangma, who I think personally. So Benangma, he plays the drums, and Lanu who's from Kohima, so he plays the bass, and Nash, who sessions for us live. So yeah, that's the people in the band.
And also, like you've mentioned, 2 of them are from Kohima and 2 are from here, from Dimapur. So when it comes to live shows or anything as such, after the band was formed, was there any live shows? The current one.
After the band was formed.
After the current formation,
so
the lineup.
We actually, so the lineup that we started with was, I think it lasted for about a year and a half. So after that, that's the lineup that we have right now, besides Nash, so it's been the same. So in fact, most of our touring and all of our concerts we've done with the lineup that we have right now. Yeah.
All right. So how do you guys practice, and how do you guys give the time, because like
We're
all of us
involved.
scattered? Yeah.
I think we just try and find the time. I think it's time management is a very important thing, especially with a band like ours. Everyone's staying in different places and all that. So we try and just communicate and try and make the best out of the just the practice sessions that we have. We try and make the most out of it, and yeah, I think we just make time for our music. So yeah, so that's not really a problem.
Also, from your first song, Murder Machine, I think like the band was formed in 2013. So when did it come out? 2014, or was it in
Murder Machine? No, so we actually, Polar Lights actually came out with Murder Machine. So before Murder Machine, there was not, no Polar Lights was. Before Murder Machine, there wasn't Polar Lights in a way. So I wrote Murder Machine probably before Polar Lights. So I had the verse and the chorus for a Murder Machine, and once we formed the band, we decided to finish it, and that's how. And we put Murder Machine out as Polar Lights. So that was the first time anyone heard of Polar Lights. So yeah, that's the story behind that song.
So we could say that Polar Lights is known to people because of Murder.
I think that's one of our most popular songs, and in a way I don't think that we'll be able to top that song also. No matter how much music we put out, it was just the timing and the scene that we had back then. So
that song will always have a
special place
in everybody's heart. So since that was your first song, tell us more about that song as well, because I don't think a lot of us know about what the actual meaning of the song was, or the inspiration.
With Murder Machine, actually, so I was 19 when I wrote that song. So Murder Machine was, I don't like putting a definition to what the song is, because I'd like to keep it up to the people's imagination, or just the people's minds to just interpret what that song means to them. So, but I think just to keep it very short and brief, I think Murder Machine is about me putting myself in someone else's position and seeing the world from their perspective.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it very subtle, and
the rest is for the people to
interpret.
Yes. So tell me, since it was 9 years ago, so what are the changes that you see in the band also, and as Polar Lights as well, besides just the lined up? What are the changes that you see?
I think the biggest difference with 2013 Polar Lights and 2022 Polar Lights would be I think just maturity. We've grown a lot. We've gone through a lot of changes, and at the same time, one of us in the band is a father now. My elder brother Tamjan, he has a daughter. I have a niece, and just things like that. I think we've all grown and matured a lot, especially with the album as well. So I think that's one of the biggest difference with just Polar Lights back then and Polar Lights now is maturity.
And like I've mentioned, you took a break for almost 3 years, right?
Almost
3 and 4 years. So did you think that you still received the same amount of love and support from your fans?
With the
even
new
after
album?
With the new album.
Of course, the response that we've been getting with the album has been overwhelming, and the support that we've been getting from everyone else is something that we did not really expect. because we've been gone for quite some time, and just coming out with the new album, we expected it to, we expected it to do well, but not how it's doing well, like right now. So I think we've been pleasantly surprised with the reception of the album.
But do you think you should get more?
Not really, man. I think with the band and our music, I think we, just like I mentioned earlier with mature, I think that comes with maturity. Earlier I would have said, yeah, I'd like the band to get more recognition and more, just stuff like that. But with this album, I think we're very satisfied with how people have been talking positively, and yeah, I think that's we're not actually bitter about anything else. I mean, it's just if someone else can relate to our album and if they find something positive, I think that's one of the biggest compliments that we can get. So yeah.
But also I must say that people were way too excited about the comeback, so I think that has a lot to say as well. Now coming back to like you've mentioned that the band took a break for quite some time, so we would want to know why that break. Yeah.
So prior to our album, so the last release or the last music that we put out was back in 2018. So for the rest of 2018 and 2019, we decided that we'd focus more on just touring and doing live performances. So our plan was to actually put an album out by 2020. But unfortunately, with pandemic and just COVID happening, we couldn't put out the album. I mean, we could, but we decided to call it off because our thought process was, if we put an album out, we wanted to make the most out of the album by touring and just going to new places and just promoting the album. So with COVID, we couldn't do that. So we decided to call it off and I think just spend more time on just working on the album again, because we had the album ready by 2020. 2020. So but once with just with the circumstances, we decided to call it off and just work and give a little bit more time on the album, and that's why we decided to come out with the album this year.
And also I've watched some of your podcast that just released, and I got to know that the band really focuses a lot on the live shows. Live performances. So tell us more about that.
So just with the way we go about recording our music, it's all live, it's all done live. So I think live performances are something that excites all of us in the band. We look forward to doing live performances, and that's something I think. You asked me earlier what was the biggest difference with 2013 Pole Lights and 2014. I think we're a lot better live now. So I think, live performances is something that we focus and center the band around. So I think live performances is very important to us.
So do you miss the live performances?
Of course.
The huge stage. Do you prefer performing more in Kohima or Dimapur? What's the
Kohima.
difference?
Kohima, no, that's not even a competition. It's Kohima for sure.
In the early days when Polo Lights first came about, I think I should say that we are aware that the band gained a lot of popularity outside India as well. And could you say that you guys got more recognition or more love outside rather than here? How?
Not really, because I think everywhere we go, we've been fortunate enough to get just positive reactions to our music. So I wouldn't call it as in we get more. I wouldn't say that we get more love and support outside than as compared to Kohima. In fact, Kohima is one of our favorite places to play at. So I think not really.
No, so I've had the opportunity to attend most of your live shows. I mean, that was when I was in class 12 or 11. Since then, I've always been a huge fan. You also know about that, of course. So I would see, there was this whole show at jail colony,
And
and I still remember that show. And I think that was one of your first. Not
that
the
was one of
first,
our first shows. Yeah.
The first being it being the first show, and also people singing out your song, the lyrics that you wrote out loud. What was the feeling like then? I mean, you mentioned
I
that
mean, that's something that every musician aspires to be, in a way, by just getting people to sing your songs. And with that jail colony, I think there were probably about 300 to 400 people, and just getting people to sing your songs is something that you only read about in magazines, or big bands talking about people singing a song. So that was one of once in a lifetime experience, and yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I think that was the original song from a local band that actually got so much love. We could say that
Back then, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think made that song, Murder Machine, so loved? Yeah.
So like I was mentioning earlier, I think it was the timing that we put the song out in. So just with the scene that we had in Nagaland at that time, there weren't many musicians or artists that put out original music. So just with the timing and the situation or the scene that we had in Nagaland, I think that was something that played a big part in making that song very loved and popular.
And also, would you say it was the genre? Because I think that time rock and also EDM was popular, but then later on...
It was something, I think, now looking back, I think I'll say that it was something very fresh for the audience,
Right.
especially in Nagaland.
How has coming back after so many years benefited the band? If there's any way, then how?
We were away from music, but at the same time we weren't really away from music. So I think coming back was something, I mean, it's benefited the band, but we weren't away from the creative process of making music. So I think I don't really know how to answer that question, but yeah, we were away but not really away. So it's did not make much of a difference.
Again, when it comes to a band, of course, the relationship between the band members
It's very
is what
important.
matters the most. It's very important. And we just want to have, get an insight on the relationship the band members have. What is a normal day of recording or a jam session?
It's
like?
usually very frustrating because I'll tell you, because the four of us, besides Nash, who plays the guitar, the rhythm guitars and the lead as well, so the four of us are actually cousins.
Okay.
So we're all brothers.
Okay.
So the relationship that everyone else will know that the relationship between brothers are always very just on the edge. It's frustrating, but in a way very calming as well, I think. So a normal day with the band would be us just I mean, it's very normal in a way. It's just us working on music and not really dramatic or not drama centered. It is drama centered. Nothing extra, yeah.
And I think the youngest in the band would be Moi, then the eldest would be your older brother. So
No, the eldest is Lanu.
okay, so how, I mean, there's the whole age gap, but how is it when do people get along when, I mean
We all get along in the band very well. So although we have age differences, but I think with how we go about just the creative process that we have, I think that there isn't any gap or difference with age has no factor, or age makes no difference in creating art or creating music. So I think just with the relationships that we have in the band, it's very normal because we're always trying to create something. So I think age plays no part in that.
Now let's come to the songwriting. So when you actually write down lyrics. Does it you just something just hits your mind and you just
It's usually very spontaneous. So it's me just on the keyboards and just freestyling in a way, and I'll just play the keyboards and I'll try to come up with lyrics and melodies, and that's usually what happens with me and songwriting.
usually how long does it take?
Sometimes it takes about an hour.
Oh.
Sometimes, especially with the new single that we have, the Castles, the video, it took me probably about a year and a half to just write and finish the song. So it's like that. Sometimes it takes just an hour or so, sometimes years.
So when you guys come up with new songs, or for example you come up with lyrics and everything, you put it together, I'm pretty sure you get, of course you go and tell your bandmates that okay, this is the song that I want to make, but there must be some other people also that their approval is very much important, or their opinion.
Okay.
So who are those people in your band? If there's any.
Apart from the band,
Yes, apart from that.
I usually send my songs to a friend of mine who's in Guwahati. So the podcast that we did earlier, so I usually send my songs to him, and if he approves of it, then that means I know that the song is good.
And why is that?
Because we have this very similar taste in music, and just our perspective on what good music is something that we share, and so I trust him with his constructive criticism, because I know that he's going to be honest. So yeah, that's along. So I usually send my music to him, and if he approves of that song, then I get the green light that I can go ahead and finish the song.
And also you mentioned that your brother is also in the band and you've been in the band. I want to know about your parents. Like, have they always been supportive?
They've been very
of the
supportive.
band?
They've been very supportive. In fact, they're one of our biggest fans.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been supportive in everything that we've done with music, and not just supporting us emotionally, but starting out, and they've been very supportive financially as well. So I think that we owe a lot to our parents.
And what about the other band members?
They're all, we have no issues with parents not supporting, or people that we respect not supporting what we've been doing, because I think they can see as well that we've been putting so much work and effort into our music. So yeah,
And also doing well. So I think that's all that matters for parents, as long as you're doing well in whatever you do. Now let's talk about your new album. What made you name the album
To Feel Human. So writing the album, so I think we took 4.5 years to just write and produce the album. And writing the album has taken me, especially with songwriting, has taken me into some very dark places, and at the same time it's dragged me out of it. And even with the way we went about recording the album, we made sure that we did everything, like from from the drums to the guitars, bass, synth sounds, just the sounds that we have on the album. We made sure that it was coming from the band, and not being produced or made by a computer. So because we can do a lot with, if you don't have to know how to play the guitar, you just have to go onto the computer and just MIDI the music into the songs. So we made sure that we did everything live. So we wanted our audience to know that there was an actual person playing the instruments, and just stuff like that. And also just having the album talks a lot about mental health, just very deep issues. So taking all of that into perspective, and we felt it was very appropriate and fitting to call the album To Feel Human, because having to live through all of these issues, good and bad, is what makes all of us human. So that's basically why we decided to call the album To Feel Human. And yeah, that's the story behind it.
Was it also because you were going through dark times at that point of time?
So that's, so I was saying earlier, and we've all had to live through a pandemic and just so many other good and bad circumstances. So in a way, we wanted the album to feel human, like literally.
So what does the lyrics, can you please explain some of it, like, some of the lyrics that you like the most from any of the, you have 5, right? So any of the songs, just a particular line that actually...
I think on the album, there's a song called Trojan. And the second verse goes, I think, wake me up at the end when it's over, when the sun and the moon shies away. In my mind, I'll be gone by December. I'll kiss the wind as it whispers my name. I'll be at the gate when it opens, locked inside a cage like the Trojan, and if by chance I make it past through the night. So that's one of my favorite verses on the album. In fact, and one of my favorite lyrics that I've ever written.
What made you come up with that?
With that song, actually, I wrote that song during pandemic. So, just with the pandemic and the circumstances that we've all was forced to live with, I think that kind of took me into a very dark place. And I usually cope with issues with my music, and that's what became of Trojan and the period and just the phase that I was in. So that's the line or the story behind me at that time.
Also, you mentioned that the songs in the album, all are connected, something like that, right? You did mention.
In a way, because most of the songs on the album are about me.
Okay.
Because I usually write the songs, so I think just the whole album is based around me going through issues, good and bad. But there's this song on the album, the last song, there's a song called Perfect View. So that was a song that I wrote back in 2014. So this was a while back. And the song is about a conversation. I had a conversation with the friend of mine that I was telling you about, Along. And I just wrote that song based on the conversation we had. And actually that song was not supposed to be on the album.
Okay.
So the story behind it was back in 2014 we wrote that song, and we tried approaching it in so many different ways, and we couldn't really figure out how we wanted the song to sound like sonically. And we shelved that song for the longest of time, and it's been sitting on the shelves. And just a couple of months back, me, my elder brother Tamjin, and Bandangma, so we were all together working on a different song, and Bandangma, he suggested that we put the song into the album. At first I was very reluctant because I had very personal connections with that song, and I wanted that song to sound right, and just the sound that I had in my mind, I wanted the song to sound like that, but we weren't able to do it. And just after the conversation that the three of us had, I think we were able to figure out how we wanted the song to sound sonically, and that's how the song came about to being on the album. And with that song, I think it was the perfect way to end the album as well. So because this 4.5 years has been excruciatingly very exhausting, not just for me but everyone else in the band. And to end the song with Perfect View was, just looking back at the 4.5 years that we've been writing the album, it felt like we were climbing up a very steep mountain and not knowing if we were going to get to the top or just to the summit, and finishing the album and looking back, I think ending the song with that song Perfect View was, I think, very, in a way, we came full circle with it. So
By the way, you're explaining that how you write songs and how just ideas struck your mind. We just want to say that we'd be expecting a lot from you guys, thinking that you still have a lot piled up in your books.
actually, we wrote roughly close to about 25 songs for the album, and we've been able to narrow it down to just 8 for now, and hopefully once the album cycle is done and we've toured the album, we should be able to put out more music, so it won't be another 4.5 years before you hear another Polar Lights record.
Please let that be true. Now you only have a music video for the song Castle, so run us through the making of this music video, because it's so pleasing to watch.
Thank you.
Of course, it's
So
just beautiful. So just let us.
The song was directed and edited by Sand Productions. So he's from Koima, Sanan, who's a very good friend of the band.
Sand's work is always
top notch, no?
Yeah.
And I think we wanted to put that song out as a single because the song is very, if you just read the lyrics and just look closely to what I'm talking about in the song, so it's very personal and very, it's me just putting out all my dirty laundry out into the world for everyone else to see. So we wanted to put that song out as a single with a music video. So you've seen the video, right? So we have a friend of mine playing the main lead.
Actually had you can continue, but I just want to say it before that. I actually had that question from a viewer asking about who is that person.
So it was a friend of mine from Koima, and I'll leave his name for the later part of the interview. But with our concept with the video was we wanted someone that could display all sorts of emotions without having a face.
Right.
So we wanted our viewers to know that it can be anyone. Because I think just mental health issues is universal.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do that with the video, with just the person having his face covered and just going through all sorts of emotions. At one scene he's running, one is happy, one is sad, one is underwater, not able to breathe and all of that. No. So our concept with the video was we just wanted someone that could display all sorts of emotions without actually having a face. We wanted our audience to know that it can be anyone. So I think we 2.5 days, I think, as in with everyone involved in the music video, as in with the band and our band performances, we took about 2.5 days, and I'd gone to Koima as well for a couple more scenes, and so roughly 4 days for the video.
And whose idea was that? The whole concept of the video,
the concept, I think we just talked about it among the band and everyone else agreed. So
everybody had a part to play there. Now coming back to the next part of the interview here, if our viewers are aware, we put it up on social media some days ago that we'll be talking with, of course, Mar in some days. So we asked our viewers to send in questions if they had any questions to ask, and we actually received a few questions here. The first question is, so how was the struggle to get this album done and the band back together?
With I think it was a struggle with with the pandemic. We couldn't really meet up as as frequent as we used to. So I think that was one of the struggles that we had, but I think we managed very well.
This question is from the same person. The person actually had a lot of questions for you guys. I think it must be a huge fan or a very good friend.
Most probably a friend.
What is your opinion on the current music industry in Nagaland?
My opinion, I wouldn't call it an industry yet, because we're only we're very small. So I think I'd call it a community, and some of my best friends are from music. So I think we have Abdon, Imliakam, Street Stories as well, who used to be based out of Shillong, and we have so many good musicians that I think we can all look forward to. So yeah, I think we've been growing a lot in the past couple of years. So I think we have the potential to just go all out. Of course, we actually on this album we collaborated with female vocalist Lanlia. She's from Kohima, so she has a very good voice, but we couldn't I think it did not sound right on the album this time, so hopefully we get to do one with her in the future. So collaborations, you can look forward to us collaborating with a lot of artists in the future. Yeah,
Not just the same from the same genre, but
yeah, from other genres as well. Yeah.
so. Are there any upcoming albums, or is it going to be a long and slow process?
No, so like I mentioned earlier, so we have, I think we have songs for another 2 more albums. So once the album cycle is done, so I think an album cycle usually lasts say 6 to 8 months. So once that is done, we should start working on another album and hopefully get it out by as soon as possible.
But it won't take 4 years.
No, it will
That's
not
what you
take
promised.
it will not take 4.5 years.
Okay, he said the best question.
Okay.
The changes of the bandmates, the ups and downs, and how the music is different from other bands, which is quite unique, to be honest.
The ups and downs with the band is I think probably while doing shows, it's very hard for us to go and tour the cities, especially financially.
Right.
Because especially flights from here to the cities are very expensive, so that has got to be one of the challenges. And I don't know if that answers it, ups and downs, but yeah.
And also, I think he also wanted to know what were the challenges you faced when changing bandmates. Also, I mean, there must be some
challenges. Not really, because everyone that's in the band right now were actively involved with Polar Lights when we started out, so they knew what the band was sonically, and especially with Bendangmo, our drummer, like he fit right into our, like, without even having to put a lot of effort, like he was just there like that. So Benangmo, Lanu and Nash, I think we had no challenges with them. They're all very professional and just very good musical people. So yeah, so no challenges there.
So before I forget this question, I actually got this question from one of my followers on Instagram too, when I posted to ask you to please ask you about who wrote Beautiful Escape.
Okay.
Of course you wrote it, but again the inspiration behind that.
Beautiful Escape. So I think I wrote Beautiful Escape right after I finished writing Murder Machine. And so I was in Bangalore at that time, and I think that song is basically about me trying to find an escape, a beautiful escape, like just having to go away from all of the problems that I was going through at that time, and just trying to find a safe haven in a way. So that's basically what the song is about.
Hi, I've got a question for him. I have seen that the band has not acknowledged the actor in the video, the one who was acting in the video. No mention of him anywhere. Is the band planning to acknowledge the actor for the success of the music video?
Because actually, no, I asked.
You can take the stage and acknowledge.
Apologize to him. No.
Apologize and acknowledge.
So I had a conversation with him, and I think I did on Instagram and other social platforms, but on YouTube I must have forgotten. So I asked him so his name is Michael. He's from Kohima. So we grew up together actually in Kohima. So we're childhood friends. So I asked him if he wanted to play that character in the video, and he was like, okay. And I think I did acknowledge him on Instagram and other social platforms, but I think I forgot to do that on YouTube. So once this interview is done, I'll go and do that.
Maybe people just wanted to see how he actually
Is
the man behind the mask.
So you can, if you go to our Instagram, you'll find, because I think I've tagged him there. So go follow Michael.
We all know he's a huge fan of Chuck
Berry
and Dave Grohl. Am I pronouncing it? He gets inspiration from both. Make him choose one. You have to choose.
That's a tough question. I think I'll have to go for Dave Grohl, because I think I'll be able to have a more meaningful conversation with Dave Grohl than with Chuck Berry, because I feel like Chuck Berry, because with the documentaries that I've seen on Chuck Berry, he's very, in a way, very rude. So I think I'll have a better conversation with Dave Grohl, so I'll choose Dave Grohl.
A very safe answer. Now coming back to a little more serious conversation here, I think. Do you think that there's more competition, like you said, not in the music industry, but the community these days than it was back then? What do you think?
Competition, I think with musicians we're always competing with each other, not in a very a very positive competition among the just our friends, because we all want to put out the best music that we can. So I think I wouldn't call it more competition, because it's always been there, but I think with the I think just with the competition, all of us have been able to put out better and better music. So I think that's something that we need here in this community. So not more competition, but how should I put this? I think it's good for the community to just compete among ourselves and be the best version of ourselves and put out the best music that we can.
Before, some years ago, it was not the same, but do you think nowadays for a song to be popular or loved by others, do you think a good music video is very important?
Of course, because I think with music videos, it's a very good PR tool. So you can get more people to listen to your music, because these days with the attention span of everyone else, it's very, very short. So I think getting a music video out is something that will help bands in just promoting your music. And so I think, just to answer your question, yes, it's very important.
Can you also tell us about one positive change that you think has come about in the music community over the years?
I think just with the quality of music that the artists here and just the artists here have been putting out, I think that's something.
When it comes to artists and musicians, everybody, the most talked about thing is that we don't have enough platform. That's what a lot of people say. So do you think we are getting a little bit
not
of platform?
Because it's not just, I feel like from my experience, it's not just here in Nagaland.
Right.
So it's everywhere, especially even in the rest of the cities in India. So I think that's something that musicians should not complain about, because I used to do that back, just 2013, 2014. I used to complain about, us not getting a platform to perform and all of that. So I think that's something that that musicians should go and look, especially with just musicians should network their product to just promoters and people. If you want to go and play shows, you have to go and look for them yourself. So you do not have to wait for someone and ask you to come and play a show. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned, is not to wait for others but to go and grab that opportunity.
And a big question, are there any gigs coming up?
So I think we've been booked to play a couple festivals. As of now, on November 26th or 27th, I'm not sure, but we'll be playing at the Majuli Music Festival, so that's in Assam. And hopefully Hornbill.
What about before that, here in Dimapur?
Dimapur, not really, because especially in November all of the members in the band are engaged in doing so many other things. So our plan is, once we're just done with playing, so our plan is to just play a couple festivals this year and just focus on promoting the album. And once we're done doing that, hopefully early next year, or just towards the end of February and March, we're working on a tour. So we should cover Dimapur, Guwahati, Shillong, Kohima, and just cities, Bombay, Bangalore. So yeah, so that's our plan.
With the conversation that we had today, and of course we are pretty much aware that you are a very good writer, with people who loves writing, people who are songwriting, do you have any
advice?
Yeah, advice. I wouldn't say advice, but I mean, advice sounds too cliche and something, but what would you say to them,
I think I wouldn't call it, because what I used to do with songwriting myself was, growing up I used to read a lot of books, and I still do, not as frequent as I used to, but I try and read books. Because I think that helps in expanding your vocabulary. So that's something I do. And with songwriters will know that most often than not we tend to have writer's block. So that's when you're not able to come up with lyrics. So a practice that I have is, I just try and scribble down whatever that's coming to my in my mind, and I just try and scribble down those feelings that I have in a book or on my phone, and that's something that helps me. So I wouldn't call it an advice, but that's something I do. So I think maybe that can
might help you out.
They can help some other aspiring songwriter as well.
And lastly, the $1 million question. Do you have any message for your fans?
Message for our fans: you can expect a lot more music from Polar Lights in the next coming months. We'll be going out on tour as well, and just take care and have a wonderful time. And we have a brand new album, To Feel Human, out. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other available social platforms, so you can go and check that out. It's, I feel, one of our best work so far. So yeah, check out our brand new album, To Feel Human.
All right, I think that's all. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you so much. It was so nice seeing you and also having to have this conversation with you after so long.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I got to, and the viewers also got to learn a lot more about the band, I guess. That's what we know. Who is who, but we don't know much about how the band works, the songs, the writings, and also a lot of people were very much eager to know about the new album also. So I think that would help.
Hopefully.
And I wish you and the band all the best for your future, and of course, expecting the viewers and every one of us are expecting you guys to drop your other album soon. I think that's all we can say. Thank you so much once again for joining us. I had a great time talking to you today.
Thank you.
That's all we have for today. Keep watching Hornbilltv.